No. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Vessalatu vesselamu ala seyyidina Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve sahbihi ecma'in. Welcome to another session, our panel discussions on the topic, a key to understand the divine power. We are in this week, part 7, and we are continuing, inshallah, the 5th point, and then, inshallah, the 11th phrase. So I would like to welcome our panelists, Mustafa Polat Hocam, Hikmet Budak Hocam, and also the Nazif Hocam, and the Colin Hocam. Welcome to our panel discussion. So inshallah, I would like to read first the 5th one, and I want to turn back to our panelists for their contribution. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So let's read first. The 10th phrase, and he is powerful over all things. This is the phrase which we are focusing on. We want to unfold the meaning of this, and we came to point 5, which is we have demonstrated to an extent in our explanation above the infinite ease, utmost speed, extreme swiftness of actions, and boundless facility apparent in the creation of beings, together with the mysteries and instances of wisdom in their creation. The existence of things with this utmost speed and utter facility, therefore, has given the people of guidance the following firm conviction, that in relation to the power of the one who creates beings, paradises are as easy as the spring as easy as gardens, and gardens as easy as flowers. According to the meaning of مَا خَلْقُكُمْ وَلَا بَعْثُكُمْ إِلَّا كَنَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ. The creation of you all and the resurrection of you all is but like that a single soul. The resurrection of all humankind is as easy as causing one person to die and raising him to life again. And according to the explicit statement of إِنْ كَانَتْ إِلَّا صَيْحَةً وَاحِدَةً فَإِذَا هُمْ جَمِيعٌ لَدَيْنَا مُخْتَرُونَ. Nothing will there have been but one single blast, and lo, before us will all of them be arraigned. To raise to life all human beings at the resurrection as easy as calling together with the sound of a bugle an army that has dispersed to rest. Although this infinite speed and boundless ease are decisive proofs and certain arguments for the self-evident perfection of the Maker's power, and for everything being easy for him in the view of the people of misguidance, the formation and creation of things by that power, which is so easy as to be necessary, gave rise to the notion that things form themselves, which is utterly impossible, and thus became the cause of confusion. That is to say, because they see that some ordinary things come into existence very easily, they imagine that they are formed spontaneously. That is, they are not created, but come into existence of their own accord. There, look at this sheer stupidity. The people of misguidance make what is the proof of an absolute power the proof of its non-existence. They open the door to innumerable impossibilities. For if it were the case, such attributes of perfection as infinite power and all-encompassing knowledge, which are necessary to the maker of the universe, would have to be ascribed to every particle of every creature so that each could form itself. So we read it, the fifth point, to unfold the meaning of the 10th, kalima, the word. Inshallah, I would like to go back to beginning, and I want to turn to our panelists, and I welcome all of them. And Colin Turner hocam, if you are available, could you, share with us your insights about the fifth point, if you are available?
Salam alaikum, can you hear me?
Alaikum salam. Yes, we can hear you.
Because I'm outside in a park and there's lots of kids playing. So I apologize if you can't hear me that well. This is interesting because I've been working on the retranslation of this 20th letter and I've just finished it. And so it's very fresh. I think what he's trying to say here, or what I'm trying to understand from this, is that Um, there is such ease in the creation, such effortlessness, and such speed that people can actually be confused by it, particularly those who don't believe or those who are skeptical, because they see that creation is appearing, every day. Vast caravans of beings are coming into existence and going out of existence with, this speed and effortlessness that if you don't attribute it to just one single unique creator, then you have to attribute it to the things themselves. And that causes, lots of impossibilities, lots of problems, lots of difficulties. So I think what he says in the last part that you read is that people are easily tricked by the creation because of the utmost and absolute knowledge and power that is involved in the creation. And it has to belong to someone. Either it belongs to one source or it belongs to everything. And if it belongs to everything, even the smallest particle and the smallest subatomic particle must be a God. It must have all the attributes of God. And this is why people are inclined not to believe, because they see things happening. They don't believe in a transcendent source. And so they attribute everything to nature or to material causes. So this is what I'm getting from this fifth point.
Subhanallah, it's amazing. Thank you very much, Colin hocam. This is really an excellent point where to summarize this fifth point. I mean, there is an infinite ease, utmost speed, as you said, very easy actions, and this is confusing the people, right? I mean, it increased the iman of the people of guidance, but at the same time, the people who are not believing, they kind of find an excuse this easiness. They're just like happening by itself. Yeah. Yeah, and also this point is like paradises are as easy as the spring as easy as gardens, and the gardens are as easy as flowers. So Allah is making these things very easily and showing us in front of our eyes each spring we see. But however, if people are not taking the lesson the way like to to know Allah more, this is maybe increasing their unbelief. They see it very simple and give, but yeah, it becomes like also a stupidity, I think, as Ustad mentioned on the other side. I would like to ask Hikmet hocam, if you are available, any contribution, please.
Just want to add that one couple sentences. I just wanted to say that everything is easy, creation is easy, everything created really speedy, but the beautiful and knowledge and everything is still the same as is one. For instance, that the flies that I remember that there's 5 billion flies in 5 seconds is going to be produced or created. But the eyes and beautiful of the eyes, or all the knowledge about the eyes, intestines, and everything that even like wings has beautifully and created with those speedily. If you remember that if we are writing 2 papers at the same time, and if you wanted to finish in a day, that we are making a lot of mistakes. But in the creation, when they come to their existence, everything is created really beautifully again. There's no mistake or less beautifulness or less creation or less time or anything is not everything is the same. Like eyes is still beautifully created, although that they are speedily utmost speeded is created, still that eyes is perfect, wings are perfect, and everything is still created perfectly. So this is clearly that just telling us that something is that's there is one source, as Colin Abbas said, who knows everything. All compassing knowledge has it. That's what I wanted to add as well.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Hikmet Hocam, for your kind contribution. And also, Ustad is mentioning about these ayah, إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون. So to raise, all of the human beings at the resurrection is as easy as like calling with the sound of the army soldiers is being all dispersed for a rest. And then with that sound, with under one commander, as you pointed out, oneness is making very easy to bring everyone together in one order. So Allah is making very easy, very orderly, and this should actually increase our iman and our belief to Allah. Yeah, that's a very important point. Nazif abi or Mustafa Polat Hocam, if you would like to say anything, please, you're more than welcome. Or anything we missed, or
Yes, I can make a couple points. This fifth section is like a conclusion, or it's a brief summary of what we have been discussing up until this point. Ustad has given examples in the previous sections, and we have discussed, Ustad has given the dome example or the army example and things like that, and to make us easy to understand the creation and how it is easy when it is attributed to Allah, and how it is impossible, the absurd, when it is given to causes or chances or whatever that is. So this is a good analogy. Ustad makes a good points, making it more clear about the time, the speed, and the easiness when it is given to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's the case, it's the truth. Time is relative. When we talk about speed in physics is the movement over time. So, and time and movement are both relative things, right? So we have accustomed to a year long to be a 12 months. It could have been a month, 30 days would have been a year. The world could have revolved around itself within 30 days, and we would call it a year. And then the seasons would have been much faster than what we are used to, and that would have been more speed, faster than what we are used to see. But even now, this is just about ulfa, right? Being accustomed to things. And we can see that the difference when you're young, like a child, you get surprised to things much easier. But when you get older, things become, more normal. So may Allah increase our surprise, let's say, because everything's in actuality or all miraculous and very fast. Everything around us are happening in a very swift manner. So we should appreciate how fastly the world is changing. Allah creating things within splits of seconds. The electrons are turning around. The whole galaxies are moving, and we don't get to think about it as much as we should. So yes, this speed and easiness is there, and we should we should appreciate it more as we read more, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Mustafa Hocam. Very good point about the time dimension and also the ghafla, right? You know, we have kind of a drunkenness or some layers which we see things in front of us is forming spontaneously, perfectly, as also Hikmet Hocam pointed out, in a high speed, but there is no like as you know a issue of imperfection. You know, everything is in a perfect way, and this easiness, you know, speed is confusing, and the ghafla is when it's coming to different layers. I think not only the people of like unbelief, they might have maybe a thicker ghafla, but as believers also, we have also different thicknesses, you know. We say we believe in, but some of the incident happening in our life, we behave as if like Allah is not all powerful. I mean, everything is in the name of, in the power of Allah. We know, we believe, but sometimes when it comes to action or behavior, our behavior may not truly reflect what we believe in. I think the more we read, the more we reflect these points, inshallah, we can fix those moments, right? Those are the things. And anyone who would like to contribute from the, you know, attendees, please, you are more than welcome. You
Colin
can
Hocam is raising hand, I see on the screen.
Oh, okay. Please, Colin Hocam.
Yeah, I was thinking about when you talked about the stupidity, and actually it's on the screen now.
Yeah.
There's a stupidity in thinking that a particle of food or a blood, a red blood cell can enter a bloodstream and know where it's going and know what it's supposed to do and know what the ultimate aim is, the ultimate effect. It has to have a knowledge of the whole body, right? And actually, it has to have a knowledge of exactly what the person is going to do, what the person's going to eat, what the context of that person is. So to think that these things can have infinite knowledge and infinite power is actual stupidity. But the problem is, this stupidity has a veil covered over it, and it's called modern scientific explanation. It's a kind of magic that unbelieving scientists are able to, in a sense, cover up this stupidity with their, computer modeling and their assumptions and their unsubstantiated theories and the way that they explain things in ways that it puzzles people and it in a sense confuses them, and they say, well, these guys are scientists, so they must know what they're talking about. So when they're talking about something as stupid as biological evolution, which is predicated on the notion that things have absolute sovereignty themselves, they cover it over with scientific jargon, and they make it seem somehow reasonable. And this is just what the magicians at the time of Pharaoh did. So there's no difference. And Ustad is really telling us, this is why people are confused. Because either it's one who is absolutely knowledgeable and absolutely powerful, or everything has to be. You can't, there's no middle way. And the second way is a stupid way, an impossible way. And we have to realize this.
Yeah, that's an amazing point. Colin Hocam, what I remember also from the history before Islam, when they started putting the idols to Mecca, the initial point of how it was actually came and formulated that when people are doing a trading, going to Damascus, at that time the Roman Empire was very strong and powerful nation. And the traders from the Arabian Peninsula, when they went there, they ask, the locals, what is the source of the power? You guys are powerful, you are advanced compared to us. And one of the person, they said, we have idols, we make it these statues, and the name of this is this, and then we ask from them, they are kind of protecting us from this and that. So they make it like a story. and it becomes very appealing for the person who wants to bring it to the Mecca. And he said, can I have it one? And then that was the beginning of those 360 idols, which they put it in Kaaba. But now maybe we are not, playing with these idols physically like some statues. But as you pointed out, that the modern science, which is making like some illusions and some fancy things, and maybe showing us like these natural, things as these collective laws, but they show it like as if they are doing the work, and confusion is coming that whoever has the scientific improvement or more scientists, they might be more powerful. So we need to have that one. So I think the object or the point is changing, but at the same time, we saw this during the COVID time. The scientists were helpless. They were also dying. And then we were not able to cope up or like kind of a speed action, and thousands of people died. So where is the power of the science in these scenarios? I mean, we observe this one. So now, and when Ustad is saying that this is sheer stupidity, we have to see this, and with reflection and tafakkur, inshallah, this can tear the ghafla curtain, from us. When we turn ourselves to all-powerful Allah, Allah is the only powerful one, not like any scientific rules or any particles in the universe and anything, because that brings, as Ustad pointed out here, is it opens up the door to innumerable impossibilities. You have to give all of these, unlimited knowledge to each particles to sustain it, and this is nonsense. So yeah, unfortunately, this is a scenario. Maybe it was different 2000 years back, but now it changed its color, and it appears like it's a scientific thing.
I think what you said there was important, because I can't remember the exact word you used. But if you think about Ibrahim alayhi salam, right? When his people would worship statues, right? Actual statues. And when they were all out in the fields, he went into the temple where all the statues were standing, and he smashed one of them, and then he put the axe in the hand of another statue. And when they came back, they said, "What happened? Oh, one of our idols, has been killed, has been smashed." And Ibrahim alayhi salam said, "Yeah, it was this other idol over there. He did it." And then they knew, right? Tafakkur was the word used. Then they realized, that they'd been duping themselves, that a statue actually can't do that because they're immobile. Their gods were immobile. So actually, Ibrahim alayhi salam did exactly what Ustad is doing here. He's showing you how stupid it is to believe that inanimate objects can actually have absolute knowledge and absolute power.
Yeah.
So we have the examples from Quran, we have the examples from Ibrahim alayhi salam, and actually, you're right. Back in the day, they were statues made from stone and made from wood, but the meaning is exactly the same as what's happening now. There's no difference. We have to take that as our example for today, really.
Yeah.
So
Amazing. Yeah, that's right. I mean, also this part from Quran, Ya naru kuni berdan wa salaman. When Ibrahim alayhi salam is being thrown to the fire, Allah gives an order. And at the same time, in the universe, we see that these green leaves under the sun, it's not changing its color, it stays as green. And also the case of the Musa alayhi salam, the water is coming. So those examples, as you said, from Quran is truly like enlightening us. Where is the power is coming? I mean, we need to dig. And this is like a treasure. I mean, treasure is not easy to find, but at the same time, Allah gave us an intelligence and the mind. If we use it in the right way, if we know that what is the role of science in this whole picture, You know, we have to, you know, look for it, right? It's a window. We don't look at like a mirror or window all the time. We look behind it. So it's a helper for us. But if we get stuck with those things as a curtain, we cannot see the beauty and the essence behind, right? Yeah, thank you very much, Colin Abi, for your contribution. If there is, okay, let me see. I think there are some okay things in the chat box. Okanabi shared also from rays, O omnipotent, one of glory, hidden in the intensity of his manifestation and concealed in the magnificence of his grandeur, O one of the absolute power. So there is, as stated in the third ray, Allah is hidden in the intensity of his brightness like a Janssen bright sun, which cannot be understood to some, for nonsense people. He said, in the same way, Allah's work is perfect in every aspect and all of the time, so that we think the universal rules are the ones who create them. If it was not the perfect, it would be easier to understand Allah. Also, as mentioned, because it is perfect, and for the Muslims who has ulfa may think that it's something easy. So Allah's intense manifestation hides him to some people. Yeah, I mean, if we get so close also to sun, we cannot see the sun, right? The intensity of the light is gonna make us like a blind. But with the evidences and how it's being reflected to the creation, we can come out. But we cannot just look to the sun to really understand. Yeah, thank you very much, Okanabi, for your contribution. In this case, maybe we could pass to the 11th phrase. This is the last phrase in this kalime tawhid. وَإِلَيْهِ الْمَصِيرُ. This is the 11th phrase. And with him all things have their end. That is to say, everything will return to the realm of permanence from the transient realm, and will go to the seat of the sempiternal, ever-enduring one's post-eternal sovereignty. They will go from the multiplicity of causes to the domain of the all-glorious one of the unity's power, and will be transferred from this world to the hereafter. Your place of recourse is his court, therefore, and your place of refuge his mercy, and so on. There are a great many truths which this phrase and those like it state. One is that you will return to eternal bliss and paradise, Jannah. This has been proved so decisively by the irrefutable certainty of the 12 arguments of the 10th word and by the 6 principles that comprise the numerous cogent proofs of the 29 words, that they leave no need for further explanation. Those 2 words have proved with the certainty of the sun rising in the following morning after having set the previous day. That life too, which has the meaning of the sun in this world, will rise in an eternal form in the morning of resurrection after its setting with the destruction of the world. Since the 10th and the 29th words have proved this truth to perfection, we refer you to them and here only say this. Further to what has been proved decisively above, the universe's all-wise maker, who possesses boundless, all-embarrassing power, limitless universal will, and infinite all-encompassing knowledge, the all-merciful creator of human beings, has promised in all his heavenly books and degrees paradise and eternal bliss to those of mankind who believe in him. Since he has promised, he will most certainly bring it about for it is impossible for him to break his promise. Also, not to carry out a promise is an extremely ugly fault, and the one of absolute perfection is totally exempt and free from all fault. Failure to fulfill a promise arises either from ignorance or from impotence. However, since it is impossible for ignorance or impotence to be ascribed in any way to that absolutely powerful one, the one knowing of all things, his breaking of a promise is impossible. Moreover, first and foremost, the pride of the worlds, upon whom be blessings and peace, and all of the prophets, saints, purified scholars, and people of belief, continuously request and implore, desire and beseech the all-generous and compassionate one for the eternal bliss they have been promised. They beseech it through all his most beautiful names. For the foremost, his compassion and mercy, and justice and wisdom, his names of all merciful and compassionate, and all just and wise, and his lordship and sovereignty, and most of his names, including Lord and Sustainer Rabb and Allah, require and necessitate the realm of the hereafter and eternal happiness, and they testify and point to its realization. Indeed, all beings with all of their truths point to the hereafter. The all-wise Quran, the greatest of the revealed books, also demonstrates and teaches this truth with thousands of its verses, with clear evidences and conclusive, veracious proofs. The most noble, beloved one, too, who is the cause of pride for the human race, relying on thousands of dazzling miracles, taught this truth throughout his life. With all his strength, he proved it, proclaimed it, saw it, and demonstrated it. So now it's a little long, but inshallah we can go through from the beginning. And I would like to ask Hikmet Hocam your insights about the 11th word as the last part of this kalima.
This is long. I mean, there are a couple of points that I think that we can discuss a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll try to summarize that what I remember really, and then we can continue. And then when I remember, I'll continue more. Actually, وَإِلَيْهِ الْمَصِيرُ is just giving us great relief from what we feel. Actually, that وَإِلَيْهِ الْمَصِيرُ we can understand from us first as a human being, from our mind, heart, and soul. Completely says that we really need to survive and be like long living here or hereafter. I was in a conference that there's one famous physicist. I always give this example. He doesn't believe that anything, and he said at the end of his 93 or 94 years old, he said there were lots of people that everybody was listening to him. He said, you know what? After I die, I don't want to be just completely lost, or I still want to be existing. And even though that I didn't believe that there's hereafter, and I like to still continue living, even if I go to like soul. Okay, that's what he says. This is clearly what he said. Even under the soil, I like to still continue the living. That's one point that I was just trying to mention, that it is just at the end. But the returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a great thing to just believe and feel. And this heart, our heart, mind and soul clearly says that I like to still believe in that I wanted to continue hereafter as well. This is one thing. And when we look at that, it started saying that in the other paragraphs as well, that when you look at all the prophets and as well as the alims, and then everybody that you can just understand. And Quran is the third one that is clearly telling us that we are going to return, and giving us an example that Ustad is saying that, I will give you one example, that the trees and all the living organism that we can look at, the trees in this winter that we lost them, but in the spring that is coming out right after, that there's resurrection is just what it says is that we are going to just come back as well hereafter after we died. And this is when you look at the outside as well. There's two things that in emphasis in al-Faqih tafakkur that we can just look at it. And I just wanted to say, one is that us, clearly that we can just return to Allah, and which is a great thing for us and for the this Ilayhi al-Masir is telling us. And then looking at the outside as well, that they're looking at the trees or all human beings or animals, and that is just clearly telling us that we are returning to Allah as well. And two places that we can just see in His court, Allah's court, and then seeing His ru'yat as well is another thing that is making me relief. Alhamdulillah, Allah exists, and then we will eventually go hereafter as well. There are a couple of other points, but I just want to listen to other brothers as well. Then I can maybe add when I wanted to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hikmet Hocam, for your great insights and your summary. And I would like to ask Colin Hocam, if you are available, what comes to your mind when we read this 11th word?
I think that Hikmat was talking about we can see resurrection, death and resurrection in this world all the time. Like in winter, everything appears to close down, and then in spring it's reborn again. So we know Ilayh al-Masir quite easily, but actually it's a constant thing. Returning to God is a constant thing, because when the trees die, those trees that shed their leaves in winter, their meanings go back to Allah, and their fruits go back to Allah in the form of even more intense meanings. And the leaves die, but their meanings go back in a sense. So we have to also realize that everything that we do or think or say has a meaning, and that meaning leaves us. For example, my words now are leaving my mouth, and they will resonate through the sound waves. We're told, if we can believe it, and why not, that they can go on forever. So they will be recorded. Our acts are recorded all the time. We know that everything is recorded. That goes back to Allah constantly. Our states, our lata'if, how we react, how we read the signs, how we behave to others, whether we're angry, whether we're sad, all of those things are recorded, and they go back to Him. In other words, He comprehends them, and they rise up to Him. Because everything, conceptually, geographically. So this, وَعَلَيْهِ الْمَسِيرُ, everything returns to Him in the end. It means at the end of their role as a manifestation, they go back to Him directly all the time. So it's not, just, at the end of your life you will die and you'll go back to Him. You are constantly returning to Him in some form, with some fruits. Some of them may be tuba, some of them may be saqum, all the time. And I think this makes us more aware of His qurba, his proximity, His closeness.
Thank you very much, Colin Hocam, for your contribution. Mustafa Polat Hocam or Nazif Hocam, if you would like to add anything, please, you are more than welcome.
Yes, I would like to add a couple more about the concept of gurba that's in Islam. This is a common theme that have been discussed by many scholars. Just came to my mind, I heard or read it somewhere. There is this example that Mevlana Rumi gives. this, what do you call? We call it kamış ney. It's a instrument, right? Like flute. It has a pipe shape. It's actually a stick-like plant, and then you take it out from the river bank, and then give it a shape, and then when you blow on into it, it makes a sound. It's like weeping. So Rumi says it was belonging to the river bank, and you take it out, and then it makes a sound of weeping, and he, compares it with the condition of the humankind. We are all in ghurba in this life. We belong to Jannah, inshallah, and we belong to His closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the more we go away from Him, the more pain we have. So there is always this last wanting to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to where we belong. And this ghurba feeling is especially present for those who live away from their home countries, like the brothers in America or Saudi Arabia or wherever they are. We always have this longing for our home country, right? Especially among the Turks, when they die, they like to be buried to where they were born. That's an interesting concept that we Turks have. Not other nations have that much of this kind of culture. Why we want to be back to where we started from, where our lives were started. So this is embedded in our, I guess, nature by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We always want to turn back to where we have come from. And the most comforting return is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this particular passage gives us that comfort. You started by the oneness of Allah, the easiness in creation of Allah, and things like that, and His qudra, and then His mercy, and how comforting this truth is for the human soul. So this is really sweet that acknowledging that Allah is all powerful to take us back to Him, to His court in hereafter, and get us closer to Him in Jannah, inshallah, for all of us, for Muslims. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mustafa Hocam, for your explanation. And now I would like to point out that Ustad mentioned, there is a promise of Allah. This promise is in all heavenly books, all of the divine books, and it decrees the paradise and eternal bliss to those people who believe in Allah. And this promise will certainly will come. It is impossible for Allah not to break His promise, right? If someone has a doubt, what are the conditions that if someone cannot keep his promise? Maybe we could touch a little bit over there also. If you want to share with some of the maybe examples, or if you can rephrase it. Colin Hocam, would you like to add a few things about this keeping promise?
There's no reason for Allah not to keep His promise, because the breaking of promises, He says, is a very ugly fault, and it comes either through ignorance or through inability. So if I make a promise, first of all, if I'm just an ignorant person, I just break it very easily. I don't think about it. It's easy for people to break if they're thoughtless, or if they're unscrupulous, or if you're unable to carry out the promise. I say, I'm sorry, brother, I can't do this because I know I promised, but I'm unable to do it. And also Allah is Al-Haq, right? One of His names is Al-Haq. So He can't break His promise. It's impossible for Him to break His promise. It says here, it's impossible. I know we don't like saying Allah can't do something, but He can't break His promise because it doesn't make any sense. It's something that is illogical for Al-Haq to be able to lie. And I know that there are theologians in the Ash'ari, from the Ash'ari school, who say that, you know, Allah can lie if he wants to. He can make untruth like truth. But this is just craziness. He is Al-Haq, and therefore it's not that he can't lie, it's because lying is illogical for someone who is Al-Haq. And if Al-Haq gives you wa'd, you know, gives you a promise, then you know most certainly, without a doubt, that he will keep it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Colin Hocam. Yeah, Allah's names, the most beautiful names, require and necessitate certain things, right? And it's not because Allah is not capable, but he cannot, you know, I mean, he's not gonna break his promise, because he's all powerful, and you know, and he doesn't ignore anything, like even the smallest thing. So having a lot of names which has necessity for the hereafter, all justice and all of the details, yeah, which we can read it in the universe, is showing that inshallah, you know, this is gonna happen. Now, I would like to ask also Hikmet Hocam, if you have anything in your mind. You said as we go, if something comes in your mind, please share it with us. Or Mustafa Polat Hocam or Nazif Hocam, please, anything related with this promise and how Allah is promising us, and what are the names which is giving us a strong feeling or assurance that this will happen, you know? Okay.
Infinite power. I just maybe that add one sentence. There's no reason to break anything. Like Colina was saying, that there's no ignorance and no impotence or inability, because we know that who has all the power and as well as that all the knowledge. So when you think about it, there's no reason. If you are thinking about any reason, there's no reason that you can assign to just that type of breaking promises. So that when you look at the whole Isma, I mean, and when we were talking about the Wahidiyat and Ahadiyat as well, that it is clear that there is no single reason or little proof that we can assign or anybody can assign to that who can Allah can break the promises. So that's all I can say right now.
Yeah. Thank you very much,
No
Hikmet
problem.
Hocam.
Uh,
Yes.
You hear me well, right?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, regarding the promise, he defined very beautifully in the 10th, in the 9th of the 10th word, Sayyid Nursi very beautifully explaining that meaning, breaking a promise, it is baseless and utter humiliation. It cannot in any way be reconciled with the glory of the sanctity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is similarly, failure to fulfill a threat arises either from forgiveness or powerlessness. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is promising that he will throw into hellfire the disbelievers who deny Allah, deny the eternal life. Either he will forgive them if he does not fulfill his threat. This is explained very beautifully in that part. Unbelief will not be given. So, or the powerlessness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, exalted from powerlessness. He is absolutely powerful, and we are observing it in every second. The whole creation is the manifestation of his power. In the chat part, Mustafa abi, there is a question. Mustafa abi is asking a question. I can read it. He
Okay,
said,
please.
we belong to heaven. Defining this meaning came from Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the first human being in the paradise, put into paradise. Adam was in the heaven, but we are destined for heaven, belong there. Why we are so corrupt, sinful, and corruption and sin come from misuse of free will. That's very beautifully explained. So we are coming to this world, for in fact our destination is the eternal life. We are given that capacity, but as Cornelius very beautifully explained, when we misuse this capacity in a wrong way, it is causing corruption, causing the corruption of our abilities, and Allah is showing us the way of how can we reform ourselves from this the corruption, the repentance, and seeking forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very good. So, yes. Maybe the other brothers, others can comment on this question.
Thank you very much, Ismail, for reading this question and the response from the Colin Hocam. Anyone who would you like to explain? The question was from brother, if we are destined for heaven and belong to heaven, then why are we so corrupt or sinful? So anyone who would like to add, actually the answer is quite clear, the brother said. Yes.
Actually, Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to add, the similar expressions or ayat are also existing in different surahs. وَإِلَيْهِ الْمَصِيرُ, we will belong to the hereafter. We will belong to, inshallah, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are some other ayat. Their meaning are also similar. As far as I remember, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we will return to him. And also in the end of Surah Yasin, I think إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills something, rather request something, if he says be, and it is, then we glorify this. إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء. The inner side of everything is also in his hands, in his power. Then we will return him. وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ, also the similar meaning as وَإِلَيْهِ الْمَصِيرُ. I wanted to say, similar meaning also is also existing in some other ayat. I wanted to add this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nabi Hocam, for your kind explanation. Yes, our final destination is in the hereafter. Allah testing us in this world, and He gave us the best example and the best book. As Ustad also stated here, the all-wise Quran with the greatest revealed books, Allah demonstrating us, teaching us the truth. There is a reality of death, and we will meet with Him. And there are thousands of verses in the Quran and with clear evidences. And also, this is the 20th letter, but the 19th letter is talking about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his miracles, and also Ustad here in the last paragraph mentioned that the most noble, beloved one is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the pride for the mankind, and relying thousands of miracles he taught us, he showed us throughout his life. And he is proving that, he's proclaiming, he's seeing, or observing, and he sees that Jannah, he saw Jannah and Jahannam in the ascension, Miraj, right? So the more we know the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the more we engage with the Quran and the book of the universe, inshallah, there will be a strong belief, and also we have, we are going to maybe prepare ourselves based on these truths, right? This is going to make maybe our awareness and remove the ghafla layers, inshallah. Thank you very much for everyone. And there is a dua in the last part before our conclusion. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi bi'adad anfasi ahli al-jannati fil jannati واحشرنا وناشره ورفقاءه وصاحبه سعيدا ووالدينا وإخواننا وأخواتنا تحت لوائه وارزقنا شفاعته وادخلنا الجنة مع آله وأصحابه برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين آمين ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Brothers, thank you very much for everyone for the contribution, for your attendees. This was the final session of the topic, key to understanding the divine power. Alhamdulillah, we concluded this week. And in the following week, inshallah, we will have a new topic. Thank you very much. Jazakallahu khairan kasiran for everyone.